But here's where it gets controversial. But Governor Gavin Newsom of California has signed a series of bills aimed at curbing aggressive immigration raids by federal agents, sparking debates over privacy, safety, and the role of law enforcement. These measures, which include banning masks for federal immigration officers and mandating transparency in school operations, have ignited fierce discussions about balancing security with civil liberties. Here's the full scoop. The governor's actions mark a direct response to President Trump's controversial immigration enforcement tactics, which have targeted schools, hospitals, and other public spaces in Southern California. Newsom's signature bills, including SB 98 and AB 49, aim to shield vulnerable populations from mass surveillance by requiring schools to notify families and students when federal agents conduct raids. The bill also bars immigration agents from entering non-public areas of schools without a judicial warrant, a move that critics argue could weaken protections for students and staff. A key controversy centers on the mask ban, which makes California the first state to prohibit federal agents from wearing masks. Proponents claim it safeguards the identity and safety of officers, while opponents argue it undermines trust between law enforcement and the public. The Department of Homeland Security has criticized the law, calling it a despicable attempt to restrict federal law enforcement. Meanwhile, California Attorney General Bill Esselstyn has accused Newsom of threatening U.S. Senator Kristi Noem, who recently announced plans to run for governor. The bills also address the ethical dilemmas of using immigration status to justify arrests. Senate Bill 81 prohibits health care providers from disclosing a patient's immigration status or birthplace to immigration authorities without a search warrant. This measure has drawn scrutiny over its potential to disrupt public health services, particularly in communities where racial profiling is a concern. Another contentious issue is the targeting of masked federal agents, as outlined in Senate Bill 627. Sens. Scott Wiener and Jesse Arreguín advocate for laws that criminalize the use of masks during raids, citing concerns about authoritarianism. However, the law excludes state police like California Highway Patrol officers, leaving local agencies to enforce the rule. The Department of Homeland Security has warned that such measures could escalate tensions between federal and state authorities. Newsom's actions have already caused friction between state and federal officials. Hours before signing the bills, Newsom's office tweeted, "Kristi Noem is going to have a bad day today." In response, acting U.S. Attorney Bill Esselstyn retorted on social media, accusing Newsom of threatening Noem. Esselstyn emphasized that California has no jurisdiction over federal agencies, urging Newsom to seek congressional approval for any regulatory changes. The constitutional debate over federal supremacy further complicates matters. While the U.S. Constitution's Supremacy Clause prioritizes federal law, some legal experts question whether California can enforce legislation targeting federal immigration officials. The U.S. Supreme Court's recent decision to override a pause in immigration raids underscores the tension between state and federal authority. Other states are mirroring California's approach, with Connecticut banning masks in state courthouses and New York implementing similar restrictions. Newsom's latest bill, SB 805, targets plainclothes immigration officers who fail to identify themselves, requiring them to display agency logos or badge numbers. Advocates argue that clear identification protects both the public and law enforcement, while critics warn of potential disruptions in daily operations. In a news conference, Newsom highlighted a recent arrest in Little Tokyo, where masked agents detained an undocumented worker delivering strawberries. He called the incident Trump's America, emphasizing the clash between his administration's policies and the president's aggressive enforcement tactics. As the legal battle continues, the debate over how to balance security, privacy, and trust remains unresolved.